My name is Esmeralda Briseño, and I'm with Center of the Universe News. To kick off our show on this fine afternoon, I would like to welcome General Anthony Clement McAuliffe. General McAuliffe commanded the soldiers during the Battle of the Bulge. General McAuliffe, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about how the Battle of the Bulge began in the first place?
Well, we aren't completely sure what the Germans' motives were behind the attack at first, but we had our suspicions they wanted to capture Antwerp.
Wait, did you say Antwerp?
No, ma'am, Antwerp.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so anyway, we figured they captured Antwerp so they could separate the troops of the British and the French. And this would cut off all of our major ports and our seaport from us allies. We also had our suspicions that they wanted the fuel that we had. They wanted to get their hands on the fuel that only we had.
Interesting. I thought I told you to stop doing that.
Sorry, ma'am. I haven't smelt a woman in who knows how long.
Okay, well, let's stop. Are you aware of any possible tactics that the German troops attempted on their attack?
See, the problem with Hitler is that he strongly believes that the best defense is to simply have a great offense. Hitler sent out 3 of his armies in order to execute this attack. His 6th Panzer Army was to attack north with the main objective of taking Antwerp. The 5th Panzer Army was to attack the center with the goal of taking Brussels. And the 7th Panzer Army was to advance to the south, collect possible fuel, and protect the flank.
Intriguing. What kind of tactics did the American troops use in order to counter the Germans?
Well, it is well known that the United States and the Allies are dominant in the air. Of course, Hitler was aware of this and strategically planned to commence the attack during stormy weather. This weather would give the German troops a chance to proceed with the attack without having to worry about our aircraft doing any damage at all.
Safe to say that Hitler and his troops were already one step ahead of you.
Oh, not at all! Yes, the Germans may have had a slight advantage going into the battle because they're more dominant on foot. However, once the weather cleared, the battle went quite smoothly for us allies.
How so?
As soon as the weather cleared, we had supplies dropped down for our troops. The fighting continued for, I'd say, about 4 weeks. In those 4 weeks, we had about 19,000 casualties, and more than 15,000 of our men were taken prisoner. But Hitler, being a dictator, underestimated the strength of a nation that is united with the strength of resources. With the loss of about 100,000 men, 1,000 aircraft, and 800 tanks, the Germans quickly exhausted with all the supplies. They were running out of men while we were still supplying fresh soldiers. Hitler simply could not keep up.
Thank you for the insight, General. Before we go, I have one last question for you. After the Germans gave American troops one chance for surrender, you replied with the famous one-word response: nuts. Could you tell us what was going through your mind at the time?
My thoughts? I just couldn't get over the stupidity of the request. Surrender? I'd die fighting over surrender any day.
Well, General, thank you for your time today. I'm Esmeralda Briseño, and this is Center of the Universe News.
Cut!
I don't get paid enough for this.
Are you a soldier in World War I? Do you constantly get burned by that big yellow thing in the sky?
Oh!
Well, now we have a solution. Benjamin Green's latest invention, the copper tone sunscreen for soldiers, easily prevents sunburn. Simply apply to the exposed skin with care and lightly rub in.
Doesn't that feel great?
It sure does!
Side effects include itching, flaking, pain, loss of memory, vomiting, swelling, birth defects, kidney failure, blindness, loss of hearing, paralysis, loss of hair, excessive gas, loss of blood, and death. Go out and buy yourself a bottle of copper tone sunscreen for soldiers today.
My fellow Germans, yet another countless attempt on my life has been planned and carried out. I am speaking to you today for 2 reasons. 1, so that you can hear my voice and know that I myself am not injured and well. 2, so that you can hear the details of a crime without parallel in German history. A very small clique of ambitious, unscrupulous, criminal, and stupid officers formed a conspiracy to do away with me and at the same time to wipe out virtually the entire state of German high command. The bomb, in which was planted by Colonel von Stauffenberg, exploded 2 meters to my right. It seriously injured a number of my colleagues, who are very dear to me. I myself am completely unhurt, apart from a few minor skin abrasions, bruises, and burns. I interpret this as a confirmation that Providence wishes me to continue my life's mission as I have in the past. And from the time when I realized the war was unavoidable and could no longer be delayed, I have known nothing but to worry and work hard for countless days and sleepless nights, lived only for my people. Once again, I take this opportunity, my old comrades in arms, to greet you, joyful that I have once again been spared a fate which, while I held no terror, for me personally, would have been terrible consequences for the German people. I interpret this as a sign of my providence that I must continue my work, and therefore I shall continue.